Hi guys, my name is Olga Noel and I make ball jointed dolls. Today I want to talk about 3 myths, things that people believe about BJD or BJD making that just aren't true, but they still hold us back. And I didn't want it to be a negative list, but I just wanted to make this little video as a nudge to anyone who's been secretly wanting to try, but they keep stopping themselves, saying that maybe it's not for them, or it's too hard, or something like it's a waste of time. Let's address it and see what myths we can bust today. Myth number 1, I need to know everything before I even start. Oh, this one is sneaky. We often tell ourselves that we are going to start right after we read more, watch more, or consume more information about the topic. But honestly, my personal beginning was an ADHD fueled, really wild, hyper-focus kick in the butt. More on that you will find in this video. There I talk about how I started in detail, but this is what I had when I started out making BJDs 10-ish years ago. First, I read maybe a third of one tutorial. I bought a block, a tiny one of polymer clay, no oven for it, mind you. I got myself some plasticine, really cheap one, because I read that it's safe to fail on. Then I visited a hobby shop and bought myself a $3 set of basic clay tool. I had a utility knife, a cuticle pusher that I used, and then I was hit with the realization that I cannot possibly bake in my home oven, or else I might literally burn the house down. So next thing I did, I went out and bought myself a packet of air dry clay, made it all. This is how she looked. Was she ideal? Absolutely not. Am I glad I started it? Hell yeah. I would say that you don't need to know everything. You just need to start, and then you learn by doing things. Most of what I learned came from me messing up. And as you probably saw in this video, I still mess up every day. Practically every day, and I know how to make dolls. And if you already do art, know anatomy maybe, or work with clay, you've got a head start. But even if you don't, you are not too late, you are not unqualified. You can start and you can probably finish it. Myth number 2, I need a ton of expensive equipment and tools. First, see my previous point. When I started, I spent maximum $30 on everything I got. And I had a lot of time on my hand first, and secondly, I had a lot of hours of patience or hyper focus. Again, this is the result. It is not ideal. Not that I'm super happy about what I got, but it was a start. And I'll make the next video about the tools that you actually need to begin this journey. So don't forget to subscribe. But I honestly get where this is coming from. You see pro artists use $1,000 kilns, pro pressure pots, airbrush porcelain, which itself is pretty cheap, but you need to know how to handle it. You see them use really expensive carving tools, for example, or 3D printers that cost, an arm and a leg, and you feel intimidated. I myself now am on the journey of learning how to create dolls in 3D because I'm just interested in things like that. And I feel that I tried researching 3D printers, and I was like, oh my god, I am afraid I cannot afford it at the moment. Or again, another field of my interest is resin casting. I am not sure that I will be able to do that, but I really want to. I bought a ton of material to do that. Probably everything except for the pressure pot and the resin itself, and everything else around it I got, but I'm really scared that I'm not going to succeed, and the pressure pot is expensive for me. So I feel that it is going to be a journey for me to build up this courage to start doing this, and it is also really intimidating to start those things because, well, I'm not a pro, and I also feel this myth affecting. So good news is you're not alone. I'm here with you. But the truth is you don't need as much to begin. I'm obviously in the middle of the journey, or maybe it's my beginning of the journey for resin casting because I've never done this before and I want to try. But in terms of sculpting, hand sculpting, you do not need fancy tools. You can start with what you have, with a cuticle pusher, literally, and a block of clay. That $30 investment is real, but it really is manageable. A block of air dry clay, for example, is around that much. Or if you don't want to risk it or don't want to invest $30 in it, or you're into digital, you can start your journey completely free in Blender. Just don't let this fancy gear or lack of fancy gear stop you from exploring. Myth number 3. I compare myself to blank space, or insert your favorite artist here, and I feel awful. So why bother? This one hurts. But I've done it too. Not before my very first doll got completed, but right after. Before, I probably already mentioned it, but before I thought like, how hard can it be? Everybody can do this. And then I realized how hard it really is. And I remember my exact thoughts at that moment were, OMG, I am somehow bad at this thing that I started yesterday. Why? I don't understand. I saw beautiful dolls of other people and was thinking I could never make something that clean. Well, it's obviously a long way from this one to this one. And I was really thinking like, I'm years behind. If you're not as delusional as I was before I started my very first doll, and you're thinking it before you even started yours, I feel that it is going to be really hard for you to start at all. And the reason behind it is probably because you've convinced yourself that it's going to be a disappointment, you're going to fail. She failed, meaning me failed. I really did. I mean, I wasn't planning on making that monstrosity. I was thinking about making a very beautiful doll with, I don't know, fancy hair, beautiful joints, basically what I'm making right now, or like my girl dolls. I was thinking that I'm going to succeed in one go with air dry clay and a cuticle pusher. But what if it's okay? What if your first doll is wobbly? What if it's weird, but it's yours, like this was mine? Every single one of us starts somewhere. Maybe it's time for you to start. Also, you don't see first dolls on like people's Instagrams anymore, or like in their feeds, and you probably feel intimidated with the quality they are producing right now. And don't. I also never posted my like very first doll, but I am trying to be as open about it as possible so that nobody's discouraged. Also, I mentioned that I learn a lot and I'm a part of like multiple course flows, and recently I found a draw a box challenge, or like not a challenge but a proper course, and I started reading the material. I started like doing those exercises, and in the very first lesson, or like rather in lesson 0, I got this quote. It really sums up the idea to try would be a waste of my time, and I really liked this one. School makes us terrified of failure and declares success as the only useful result. It resonated with me a lot because this is what a lot of us carry with us. This idea that if we can do well something right now, it's not even worth attempting. And I understand that doll making is the opposite of instant success. It is slow, it is often very messy, it costs you time, it costs you money, sometimes later down the line, not right now. It is also really beautiful and really personal. So you are finding those concepts within you and you are pulling them out, and people see that, and people see that you are open about it and that you are trying to make something great. And to make a ball jointed doll, you don't really need to be a painter or a digital sculptor or possess all the anatomy knowledge that exists. You just have to want to make something that never existed before. And this is enough, I promise you. I understand that I promised 3 myths, but I have like one thought came to me while I was filming it. This is this idea from people that only realistic dolls are worth anything. And this is completely false. My dolls are stylized. I understand that they look real, but in reality, a lot of things that I do about them I intentionally distort so that you would believe that this person could be real. In reality, they cannot. And this is normal. There are also plenty of stylized dolls with other proportions, weird proportions, not human-like. There are fantasy creatures, animals, just weird little blobs with, I don't know, jointed hands. This also happens, and they all have their place. Your doll doesn't have to follow a trend or look like someone else's work. I understand that it is really hard to stop comparing yourself to other people. I understand that sometimes we feel that we are a failure, an instant failure, because somebody does it better than you. I don't know, sometimes I think that a lot of people do things better, and sometimes I really feel intimidated by other people's success. But what's great about it is that I get joy from creation, and this joy is what keeps me going. So yeah, these myths aren't just silly things that people believe. They are those little voices that stop you from even beginning, which won't do. I promise, if you've been thinking about it, if this BJD topic is tugging at you, you are 100% allowed to start and experience this joy. You may not like it, but you've experienced it once and you understood what's happening. Sometimes it's messy, sometimes it's scary to fail. I would say start even if you're scared, or like especially if you're scared. Don't avoid it. Also, let me know in the comments what myths held you back, if they did. What fears are you still wrestling with? Because I do struggle with them myself sometimes, just like in a little bit of a different perspective, but I'm still a beginner in some areas of ball jointed dolls. So again, you are not alone. I'm here. Drop me comments, drop a like for the video, subscribe to the channel. It's great that you're here. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Bye!